the essence with those attendees who are present. And we are focusing today on the Pro view of InstanetForms plus DocBox. The Pro view, you have one account. You have one online transaction desk account. You have multiple views into that account. Today, we're focusing on the Pro view. What you'll find in the top left-hand corner there, Transaction Desk Pro, as opposed to what you see here in the top right corner. If you follow my mouse to the top right corner, you see it says Transaction Desk Lite. That's the Lite view. That is the most commonly used features, or the less is more approach. This is the Pro view. This is the more is better approach. So we'll see all of the transaction management services available through InstanetForms and DocBox. Focusing on transaction files to type up that complete form packet. So from this Home tab, that's what we're looking at right now, top center of the screen, this is the Home. Anytime you click the Home tab, you'll see this view. I'm going to slide my mouse down just a little bit to the right, and I'm going to click on Transactions. From that second row of links, top center of the screen, clicking on Transactions, because this is where we can go to re-access the transaction files that we've worked with previously. We can start new transaction files from this view as well. So we're going to look at, let's first look at a transaction file, just so we can make sure we're familiar with the features and transaction management services within that online file. I'm going to click here, just going to click on one of these, Bluestone Lane Pete Peterson file. By clicking on that name, I'm going to access that online transaction. Looking on the left-hand side of the screen, the red bullet points, left-hand column, we commonly refer to this as the dashboard. The dashboard within your online transaction file. The screen that we're currently looking at is the transaction overview screen, because it gives us an overview of our transaction file details. The address, city, state, zip, MLS ID, list price, and any other information that we've added to the property information link. So this transaction information is drawn from that property information link within our transaction files. If I scroll down the page here a little bit, we see documents. And documents, again, those signed ratified contracts. In this case, a sample listing presentation, a fax back cover sheet, a signed Word document. Those documents that we want to reload back into our online transaction. We have faxing services to fax those documents in. You can scan and upload documents in. You can email documents into your online transaction file. Those are documents, as opposed to forms. On the right-hand side of the screen, it says InstanetForms. InstanetForms, the online forms library. Forms are online and fillable. You can fill in the fillable fields in an Instanet form. And those are features included in our transaction file. Multiple forms, working with them simultaneously. Forms are auto-filled from our transaction file details. So we can reduce the redundant data entry by adding details to our transaction file. Those file details autofill our forms and contracts. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have all of our contacts that we've added to this transaction file, listing agent, listing broker, sellers, escrow companies, anyone else that we would benefit from adding into our online transaction. So again, red bullet points, these are all features of our transaction file: sharing, documents, InstanetForms, contacts and participant access, call logs, property information, history, dates, and so forth. So these are the features of our transaction file, so that we can manage the sale process online. We can replace those manila folders filled with paper pages with online transaction files filled with digital forms and documents. So that is a transaction file. So now we're going to start a new one. We're going to go through the steps to create a new transaction file, fill out all of our forms, kind of prepare that complete form packet. Then we'll see the faxing features and upload features to re-upload those signed, ratified contracts back into our online file. So clicking again on that transactions link, top center of the screen, shading a little bit to the right, clicking on transactions. We just reviewed the Bluestone Lane file. Now, from the top center, middle center of the screen, I guess, I want to point out this phrase, I would like to. I would like to is a very consistent phrase that you find throughout your transaction desk account. Every time you see I would like to, that phrase, it's going to be in association with this drop-down triangle. That little upside-down triangle, by clicking on it, it's going to reveal this list of values. So you can choose the actions or what you would like to do. In this case, we are just going to keep the top feature there, create a new transaction. Selecting that action and clicking on the Go arrow, clicking on that Go arrow to go to our Start screen. This is merely a start screen so we can get started creating our new transaction file. So what do we want to do? What type of transaction? I'm going to do a purchase contract. Hopefully spring is springing here, buyers are buying, and you're writing purchase contracts. But all transaction files see all the different transaction types the same, whether you're working with a listing file, a purchase file, a lease file, a commercial file, a residential file. Transaction Desk does not see them any differently. You go through the same steps. You just add different forms. You upload different documents. But the steps are exactly the same. So learning how to create one type of transaction, you really learn how to create all the different types of transactions. So the first thing, and really the only required field here at the top, is the transaction name. That's that little asterisk next to it. It's kind of small and obscure there. But take a look, because that's the last one you'll see. There are no required fields in your transaction files, just giving that file a name. And name your file however you would best benefit, however you like to name your files, however your office requires you to name your online files. Just keep that same naming structure. Best thing I can offer you is just remain consistent. Name your files consistently so that you can easily find them, filter for them, search for them downstream. So we're going to be working with, let's go with Will Williams. See, probably never worked with him before. I think I need to get a little bit more creative in my examples here, but we're going to give our file a name. However you like to name your files, you choose. That's just the format that I like to move forward with. It's not a required field, but I would suggest that you choose the type of transaction that you're working with. Some of these are just the basic generic types: commercial lease listing and sale, residential lease listing and sale. 400,000 licensed users of our product see that same list, those same 6 values in that list. You can add your own content to these lists: lot and land, multifamily, and so forth. We can create our own transaction types to mirror the files that we're creating. So let me just choose one here. Let's go with the multifamily purchase. Now let's just go with that. Now let's stick with that one. I have single family buyer there, but we could say single family / multifamily. Maybe they're just not sure what type of property they're interested in quite yet. So you can add that content here by clicking on Add a Transaction Type. So you can add your custom content. Now this is a nationally broadcast webinar, so it may not look exactly the same. Some of the features in this account may be a little bit different than the features that you have in your account, but all the steps are exactly the same, because from here out everything is optional. Most of you, I would say 3/4, 3 out of 4, maybe even 4 out of 5 of the users will have access to these MLS import features, where you can import data from your MLS listing into your new transaction file. You have that option to import that data. We have integrated with lots and lots and lots of MLS providers throughout the country, so you'll have that opportunity to import property detail into your online transaction file. And you can see that right here, import data. If you want to, click yes, choose your source, enter your MLS or parcel ID. If you have those integrations, you can import property data to start your new transaction file. I'm going to show you where we can import from within our transaction. This one's pretty obvious. It's right in your face. You're starting your new file. Wow, that's pretty neat. I can import from the MLS. So it's right there. Doesn't take too much to point that feature out. I'm going to show you the not so obvious way to import information into your existing file. So as we continue to scroll down this page, and as I do, we'll just see additional opportunities to add content to our new file. The first one there, importing data. We can import that property data from the MLS to add that property detail or that content to our new transaction file. So we're skipping that. We're not going to add that in quite yet. Another way to add significant amounts of data or content, if you will, to your new file is populating from transaction templates. Now you have to create your templates first so that you can then start your files from a transaction template to have specific content automatically added to your new file. Because let's be honest here. When I say single-family residential buyer, you start thinking of all the forms and contracts that you'll need to execute that agency agreement, purchase and sale contract, third-party financing agreements, and so forth. So when I say single-family residential buyer, you say purchase and sale or buy-sell contract. You say agency agreement. You say information about brokerage services. You say third-party financing addendum. So these are the features that you can add to a transaction template. By creating that template, you can start your file from the template and automatically include content in your new file. We do offer follow-up webinars to work with or show you how to create those templates. At the end of this session, we'll go to our Settings tab and show you where you can find those features. We will use the transaction wizard. It is an optional item. It will just walk us through the elements of our new file to add some detail if we have it in. It is an optional item. I always like to point out that you can opt out of it if you choose to, but by default you will walk through the steps of the wizard to add content to the new file. Who am I? Might be a little existential question for a Monday, but otherwise we are going to just denote ourselves listing agent. We can choose whichever one is appropriate for the side of the transaction that we're going to be working on. I'm going to choose selling agent. I'll be added in as the selling agent contact. My broker will be added into this file as the selling broker contact to the transaction. If I'm neither or both, I could select either of those options as well. But just to reiterate, we're starting our new transaction file basically from scratch. The only detail that we're adding is the name of the file and our contact information to this new file. Are there options to get other content into the file right from the start? Yes, there are. Those options are importing from the MLS and populating from templates. If you don't use either of those, you basically start a blank transaction file. If you choose to use either of those features, you'll add that content to your new file. Otherwise, bottom right corner, clicking on Start Transaction, we're going to start this new file. We're going to walk through the steps of the wizard to add some content. We're going to prepare type up that purchase contract or agency agreement. We're going to create this form packet. So we're just going to walk through the steps of the wizard. You see here in the left-hand column, again, if you will, that dashboard here on the left, the steps of the wizard. You see at the bottom of the left column there, it says Save and Exit. You can save and exit from this wizard at any time. You could opt out altogether, as we saw on the previous screen. When we opt out or save and exit, we'll go right to the transaction overview page. So we're not exiting from anything other than the wizard. This is the property information page. As I scroll down, you'll see that we can add property information, which we will import here later in the demonstration. We can add listing information if you are doing a purchase, or excuse me, if you're doing a new listing, you can add list price and inclusions and exclusions or supplemental information. What don't you see? Asterisks. There are no required fields. Do you benefit from adding in this information? Sure you do. And we'll add in a little bit here so that we can see those features. I'm going to pick a few numbers out, what I've typed in previously, so that we'll see the opportunity for these autofill features. I build my transaction file content. That content autofills my forms and contracts. So I add in that information, scroll back up to the top of the screen. I'm going to click on Next. Every time I click the blue Next button, the content in this screen is automatically saved, and I move to that Next field. Dates. Do I know any dates? No, maybe not. If this is that phone duty call, or it's that referral call, or an email that you got from some marketing campaign, you may not have any dates, and that's fine because they're not required. I'm going to add them in so we can see the autofill features. By adding the date, I just click on that little calendar icon. By clicking there, pops up the little calendar, and I can select the appropriate date. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a reload, and you know that you have to close on or before that date. Add the dates you know. You can come back at any time and update this information. Clicking on Next. Contacts and participants. We've been added in. Our broker's been added in. There's the phrase again. I would like to add new contact. Click on the Go arrow. We're walking through these steps of our new transaction file. We're going to add our buyer. Our contact type is the buyer. You can see a full list of potential contact types. If you don't see the type that you want to work with, you can certainly add your own. And these are types. These are not people. These are the types of people. In this case, it's the buyer type. Bottom right corner, clicking on Continue. So I'm going to add Will Williams into my transaction file. By adding Will here, Will will autofill all of the buyer fields within all the forms and contracts that I add to this transaction. So I'm going to type in Will. If I've never worked with him before, I can certainly type in his information manually. If I had worked with him before and I've saved him to my contact database, I can insert him into my new transaction file. You do have unlimited storage for prospects and contacts as part of your InstanetForms plus DocBox account. So maybe I just spoke with Will briefly on the phone. I got a phone number and an email address for Will, and I can add that in. Scrolling down to the bottom of this page, participant options. You can grant your contacts participant access to your online transaction files. You can give them access to specific details within your file. You choose the specific features of your file that you want them to have access to. If you want more information about this, please do let us know. Before we get too far into the demonstration, I do want to let you know that there is the questions can be answered if you type them into your GoToTraining sidebar. That chat section, we are reviewing that throughout this live demonstration, so please do type your questions into that chat section found in your GoToTraining sidebar. That GoToTraining sidebar is most likely collapsed against the right-hand side of your screen. In the top right corner, you'll find a red box with a white arrow. By clicking on that white arrow, it will expand that GoToTraining sidebar. You'll find that chat section in the bottom of that GoToTraining sidebar. Type in your questions. We will be answering them throughout. So that's participant access. You can grant anybody participant access to your online file. Just below that, it says Add to My Contacts. That is your contact database, unlimited storage for prospects and contacts. So by selecting that checkbox, then clicking Save Contact Information in the bottom right corner, I'm adding Will to both my transaction file as well as my online database of contacts. So I have that opportunity to add contacts to my transaction file and my online database. Now, if there are multiple buyers, if they're husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, parents and children, business partners, or so forth, you want to add in your contacts separately. Clicking there again, I would like to add new contact. I have that second buyer. Clicking on Continue. So who is it? It's Will. Is it his brother, his mother, his father, his sister? Who is he buying with? And we're just going to say it's Will and Veronica Williams. Add the information that you have. Make sure that that's capitalized. There we go. And save that contact information. There are no required fields. Add in all of the contacts that you would benefit from. Once you've added in your contacts, click on Next. One thing that can keep in mind as well, this is just the very first run through your new transaction file. This certainly is not the last time you'll be able to add in this information. This is the first time. We'll be able to add contacts, forms, documents, and so forth as we go through that sale process. As more and more become identified, we can add them to our existing transaction. So this is just the first walkthrough. There's that phrase again, I would like to add new forms. Click on the Go arrow. Because we're going to access our forms library. This is the value of working with transaction files over individual forms. We have the opportunity to add all of the forms that we'll need to execute these agency agreements, these purchase contracts, and so forth. A couple things about forms. You can group up your forms in what we call quick start groups. You can create these groups of forms to be able to quickly add multiple forms to your new files. This is content that you can create for your own account. Content like quick start groups, content like transaction templates, content like clauses. These are all features and content that you can add to your online account. Do you have to? No, you sure don't. They are time-saving features. Reduce time, energy, and effort by generating these packets. I'm going to select one there. So you can quickly add multiple forms simultaneously. Otherwise, I'm going to expand the individual form library. We're going to go to that Buffalo Niagara Association. Again, this is a nationally broadcast webinar. This is probably one thing that, unless you're in Buffalo Niagara, these forms, your forms library is going to look a little different. What it's trying to highlight here is you will have access to your forms and contracts provided by your state, provided by your local association, provided by even all the way down to your office. If they've participated in our custom forms programming, you can have access to all those different forms. We are going to press and hold the CTRL key to select multiple forms. So we selected the packet already. We're just going to press and hold the CTRL key. It is on your keyboard. You hold down that key on your keyboard to select the additional form. You hold down that key, CTRL key, to select the additional form. Go through, select all of the required or optional fields, all of the required or optional forms that you'll need to execute this type of transaction. Let me pick one more. There is one here I want to add. Let's choose the wheat field disclosure. Why not? Press and hold the CTRL key on your keyboard. Select that additional form. Click Add Selected Forms to Transaction. Selecting that action, all the forms that I've now selected will be added to my new transaction file. This is just the first time I can add the forms. I'll show a number of other locations and opportunities to add forms to your transaction file. So we've got our addendum, our agency disclosure, our by-agency agreement, our contract, our gift letter, our property inspection, our wheat field disclosure. First run through, those looks like a good list of forms to use for this new buyer prospect. Clicking on the Next button, because that's the forms. Now here's if we had any documents. Have we gotten a pre-qualification letter from this buyer? Have we received any type of MLS search requirements, the type of property they're looking for, property features they're interested in? Have you received any documents yet throughout the sale process? You can see that one document's been added in, the fax back cover sheet. Every time you start a new transaction file, a fax back cover sheet is automatically added. That cover sheet is specific to this transaction. I want to get to typing up this offer, so I'm going to just click Next. I'm not going to upload a document now. I'm going to show you I can re-upload documents to our file. So we'll do that here in a moment. So clicking on Next, coming to the Work with Others, final step of the wizard. Additional content that you can add to your transaction desk account. Working with others, the opportunity to work in teams, with business partners, with other members of your real estate office. If you work in that type of environment where you have a business partner or a team or anybody that you want to share your files with within your office, sharing is specific to the other agents in your office. You can first create the share group and then share your files with that person or group of people. Even when you have created them, as you see, I have two available shares, my business partner and the office. So I can share with just my partner or with everybody in the office when I want to. I'm just going to willfully abstain. I don't want to share. This is my new buyer, and I'm not sharing this buyer with anybody. I'm going to just save and exit in the top right corner, saving and exiting from the transaction wizard to our transaction overview page. We've gone through. We've added the beginnings of our new file. We are in the transaction overview. As I mentioned previously, from the start screen, if you opt out of the wizard, you will come right to this overview screen. If you save and exit from the wizard at any time, you'll come to this transaction overview screen. The wizard merely offered us the opportunity to add content to our new transaction file. So now we've added our forms. We've added some content. We can start typing up and filling in our forms. Before we do that, though, I want to show you from this overview screen. It's a very robust, I would like to. There's that phrase again, I would like to. Associated with that drop-down triangle, by clicking that upside-down triangle, it yields this list of values. The one I want to focus on now is import data. Because right now, this is a new buyer. They probably haven't identified a property, right? Most of the time, 8, 9 times out of 10, you have to start showing that buyer properties. You have to do MLS searches and go through those steps to identify the property. There's going to be that 1 in 10 that's going to call you and say, I found the house. I just need you to help me write the contract. And those are the golden goose buyers, and I wish them to all of you. But most of the time, you're not going to have that property identified. When you do, after we've been working with Will and Veronica here for a while, now they've identified the property. We can come back to our online file, import data, click on that go arrow. We're going to have that opportunity. Again, some of you won't. Some of you on this webinar are going to go, man, I don't see that. I don't have that in my list. It's because we have not integrated with your local MLS provider. If you think that's a value, contact your association. Start telling people you think it will be a value. We will integrate with anyone willing to integrate with us. We're going to choose our provider because we integrate with both MLS providers as well as public record. So in this client has both of those. Stick with the one we know here, MLS. We're going to choose our appropriate property type. Single family, apartment, commercial. Again, these are specific to the Central Alliance MLS in New York State. I'm going to put in my MLS ID. Type that in. Click on Import Data. Selecting that action. Transaction Desk, InstanetForms is going to reach out to the MLS. It's going to find that MLS ID, and it's going to import that property information into my existing transaction file. Reduce time, energy, and effort. Reduce redundant data entry by importing property information from the MLS. Reduce the redundant data entry by building your transaction file detail. You benefit from adding the address, city, state, zip, tax ID, legal description. From that property information, by adding in that detail, it's going to auto-populate our forms and contracts. So let's see that right now. From our dashboard here on the left, the red bullet points, I'm going to go from the transaction overview view that we're looking at right now to the InstanetForms. Clicking on InstanetForms, from the dashboard on the left-hand side, we see the forms that we've added in. Now I want to get the content and details that I've added to my file into these forms. I'm going to do that by clicking on Auto-Populate Update Forms. By clicking on this link, bottom center of the screen, Auto-Populate Update Forms, the content that I've added to my file, dates, details, contacts, that information will autofill my form fields. So let's see that. I'm going to click on the form name now. Clicking on the contract, let's go to that form first. See that purchase and sale contract. We'll see that content has auto-filled the fillable fields in my online forms. Forms are online and fillable. That's the difference between a form and a document. A form, Instanet form, is fillable. Documents are not. Documents are PDFs, documents are Word, documents are Excel, documents are images. Those are the documents that we can upload back into our online transaction, which we'll see here in just a couple more minutes. As all these forms load up, here's the value again of working with transaction files. Here's all the forms that we've added in to our transaction file. I can work with these as I go through. As I complete one form, all the fillable fields, I can then click on the next form to fill that one, and the next form to fill that one, and so forth. Until I need to do that, I can simply click on that red minus sign there at the top of the column to shrink it against the right-hand side of the screen, so I can actually see the form that I'm working on. What if I've noticed now from my column, like, oh geez, I forgot that form I needed to add in? From the top left-hand side of the screen, from these drop-down menus, Transaction, Add New Form. So here's one place that I can continue to add forms to my transaction file. Right here, from Forms Editor, I can click Add New Form. I will access my forms library. I can select the form I need to add. Two things are going to happen. One, that form will be opened in Forms Editor. Two, that form will be auto-completed with my transaction file detail. So nice place to add forms to my existing transaction file. Transaction, add new form. But you can see we've had content autofill our transaction. Well, where did the seller come from? We didn't add him. That was brought in by the Mls Import feature. That contact was added to our file. When we auto-populated our forms, that content was brought over. I can add date fields. This little calendar picker. You can see as I hover my mouse there, it says calendar. So I can click to launch that calendar. Nice feature here is I can just write TBD or NA or other detail. Most of your fields will be alpha and numeric, so you can type both letters and numbers. There are no restrictions from pasting, so not only can you type, but anything that you can copy to your computer's clipboard, so to speak, you can paste into your forms and contracts. Going down to that address field under the purchaser, see my cursor is blinking there now. I can do the right click to paste. There are no restrictions from pasting. You can paste to add detail to your online forms. All of the light blue fields are fillable. They might look gray on your screen. We're going with light blue. They are all fillable fields. All this information auto-filled from our transaction file. Go through, complete all of the required and optional fields. Copy and paste or manually type that content into your fields. Going to the top left corner of the screen, these drop-down menus, speak to a few of them. File. From the File drop-down menu, you can take and save my changes. I can save this form to my hard drive as a PDF. I could print it to paper. As you complete each form, you could certainly print it to paper. We're going to see here in a little bit how you can merge all your forms into one comprehensive PDF first, then print it to paper, and different ways to deliver your forms. Speaking of a couple different ways to deliver, well, print is one. Send is another, because maybe you want to email this completed form or fax this completed form. From the top left corner, that send, I can email it outbound. I can fax it outbound. Part of your DocBox component is unlimited online document storage and unlimited toll-free faxing, outbound faxing. You can send this individual form outbound via fax. You don't need to be within 1,000 miles of a fax machine to send the outbound fax. It's internet faxing. You're instructing Transaction Desk and DocBox to complete that action for you. It happens real time. You're notified via email when those actions are completed. A couple other features here. Format. You can format the font on any individual field. The individual field or the form, you can update the font style, color, and size. View, you can zoom in on the page. You can jump to a particular page. Transaction we saw, you can add new forms directly to your transaction file. If you have the desktop version available, you can archive your forms to the desktop version. Insert clauses is a nice feature. Clauses, content that you can add to your account so that you can paste those standard provisions into your online forms. You create the clause, you can then access and paste that clause into your online form. So good features here. I have willfully abstained from saving because I want to see now I've completed this form, pretending that we've completed this form. Right-hand side of the screen, I'm going to click on it, the plus sign now to expand that column because I've completed the contract. Now I want to go to and complete the buyer agency agreement. So I'm clicking on that form. I'm going to be prompted to save my changes. InstanetForms not going to let you leave the form without at least prompting you to save or not. You decide. But I think, yes, I do want to save the changes that I made to this online form. I save the changes. I go to that next form to complete all of the required and optional fields. I verify which fields have been auto-filled from my transaction file. I complete all of the required and optional fields. Go through, make those appropriate updates. Scrolling down, I wanted to see if I could show, because you may have been asking yourself, well, why did we have to add 2 buyers to this transaction file? Here's the reason, so that buyer 1, Will, buyer 2, Veronica. That you add your contacts to your transaction file. We add multiple contacts so they autofill those multiple buyer fields. That's why we add them in separately, so that each one will complete those fields. Going back to the view, because remember I can jump to the particular pages, complete all of the required and optional fields within all the forms that you've added to your transaction file. At this point, I've completed them all, pretending at least anyway, and I'm going to exit from the form editor. You're like, Greg, well, you haven't sent them out. What are you going to do now? How are you going to send out these forms? Well, I can decide how I want to send them out. Top center of the screen, middle center, shading to the left a little bit. I'm going to click on that checkbox next to where it says Forms. And I'm going to select all of these forms. I don't have to select them all, so if I didn't need that wheat field disclosure, I could take it out. Because now I can decide. I would like to, there's that phrase again. You can see the first thing I can do is add new forms. So we are on the InstanetForms section, left-hand side of the column, dashboard, InstanetForms. We came back to this view. I can add more forms to my transaction. I'm going to click that triangle to expand. I can email these selected forms. I can fax these selected forms. I am going to print the selected forms to PDF. And clicking on the Go arrow. What this step does, it's going to merge these individual forms into one comprehensive form packet. Because I don't want to send, 1 through 6 individual forms and risk that they open 5 of the 6 or 4 of the 6. I want to merge them into one PDF packet so I can email that packet, or I can fax that packet, or I can print that packet. So the first thing that I'm going to do is put it into a meaningful sort order. Agency disclosure, clicking on the green up arrow to put it into that position. Buyer agency, exclusive right to represent, sure, let's arrow that one into the appropriate. To show the down arrow, select the addendum, down arrow, move that down, so forth. Gift letter, maybe it's not required as I thought it might be, delete it out of this packet. I just deleted it from the packet, not from the file, just from this packet. I'm going to merge it together. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to ditch the date there. I'm actually going to rename it Will Williams Purchase Offer Packet. I'm going to name this document because when I click on Generate PDF there in the bottom right corner, Generate PDF, InstanetForms is going to merge these individual forms into one comprehensive PDF. Here's the link to open that PDF. Clicking on that link, it's going to launch this Adobe Acrobat PDF. That's what it is. It's an Adobe Acrobat PDF document, one of 20 pages. Because now I can print this to paper. I can save it offline. So I can decide how I want to deliver this. Another feature within your InstanetForms plus DocBox, so I'm going to click here on the print. But I'm not going to print it to paper like some of you may think. I do have that option. I can use my Lexmark printer. I can use my HP LaserJet printer. But I would choose the feature, the DocBox printer by Instanet Solutions. I'm going to point this option out. By selecting this option, I can virtually print this document to email, fax, or upload. So right from here, right from this print feature, I can email it, fax it, or upload it back into my online transaction file. I'll show you the steps. I know we're coming up on that 45-minute mark. I just want to show you where this feature is, because as we take a quick glance at the Settings tab here, I'll point out where you can find and install that DocBox printer to your computer. Canceling out of there. Closing out of this, and I'll just minimize the document, because we've saved a copy to our documents. Dashboard, left-hand side of the screen, going back to Documents. There's our Will Williams purchase offer packet. Because from here, selecting that document, I would like to phrase, email the selected document, fax the selected document. I could take those actions to deliver this completed form packet outbound. What happens when I get it signed and when I want to get it back in? That's the next step. So let's just talk about that. The first way you can do it is if you have access to a fax machine, you can print out a fax back cover sheet. Clicking on the fax back cover sheet, this is part of your DocBox service. You really have 4 distinct faxing services. We saw the outbound faxing. This is what we consider inbound faxing. It is a brandable item. You can add your branding to your account to brand cover sheets, to brand outbound email messages, and so forth. This is a cover sheet. Senders use it as the cover sheet. Senders like you, senders like your buyers and clients, senders like cooperating agents can use these cover sheets. They dial the toll-free number. It is the barcode technology that is unique to your account, unique to your transaction file. The 800 number is generic. The barcode on the cover sheet is unique. Our receiving faxes read this barcode, convert the paper fax to PDF, and deliver that PDF directly to your online file. Once that fax is received, you get an email notification notifying you of the received fax. A PDF copy of the received fax is attached to that email notification. These cover sheets basically convert your fax machine into a scanner. You feed your fax machine paper, the output is PDF. So that is one way. You can print these out, you can use them yourself, you can deliver them to the parties to your transaction. They can use them to fax back documents directly to your online file. Fax them back, receive PDF copies, and email notifications. So faxing is one way. Back to Documents. I would like to, drop-down menu, upload a document, because maybe you're scanning. Maybe you're choosing to scan rather than fax. I would like to upload a document. Any documents that you have saved offline on your computer or other storage device, you can upload to your online transaction file. By clicking here on Add, we are going to access our online, we're going to access our locally stored documents. We're going to go to implementation here, assorted, because I need to find where I've scanned that document to. And I'm just going to pick one here, image files, Word documents, PDF. These are all available documents to be uploaded in to your online transaction file. So just clicking on one and click on Open. It's going to add that document to our Upload Manager. One more time, so that was a Word document. Let's choose this time a image file. clicking on Open. Those two documents have been added in. Click on Add Selected Documents to my transaction. Whatever documents, maybe you received the signed purchase contract back and want to now deliver it to the listing agent. You can certainly upload it into your file, fax or email it to the listing agent. However you're receiving documents, you can upload them back into your online transaction file. Unlimited online document storage, unlimited toll-free faxing services as part of your account. So that's forms and documents. We typed up the offer, we created a merged form packet, we uploaded that signed, ratified packet back to our online account. Those are the steps. About 5 minutes over, but I do want to click on this overview screen. I want to back out of here a little bit, going back to the transaction overview to see the features of our transaction file, our address, city, state, and property information, our documents, our forms and contracts, our contacts to this transaction file. Going to the Settings tab, top right-hand corner, Settings tab, because this is where you have access to generate this content for your online account. Quick Start groups to generate those groups of forms. Transaction templates to generate full transaction files so you can start your transactions with predetermined forms and documents and all of that transaction content. You create the content, clauses and sharing. You create this content, you add it to your online account. My preferences, top left-hand corner, clicking on Continue. A few features in here. You can access your transaction files and online content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through our website, optimized for mobile browsing, DocBox to go. Clicking there, DocBox to go. It is a website. It is not an app. It is a website. You navigate to docboxtogo.com. You type in your first name, last name, and unique transaction desk password. I'll show you here in just a second how you can access that password. But docboxtogo.com, our website, optimized for mobile browsing. Print driver settings, bottom left corner of the dashboard, just above DocBox to go. Print driver. You can install this print driver so that you can virtually print any document to upload, email, or fax. You can install this on any computer so that you can access your online account and deliver documents by email, fax, or upload using that print driver. Well, how do you get that password? Because it's required to use both of these features. Password management, top left-hand side of the dashboard, password management. There is a unique DocBox password. Have it emailed to you. Click here to have that emailed to you so you can use that password or change it to whatever you would like it to be. This is unique to DocBox. The only reason you might need this password is if you want to use that DocBox to go or install that print driver. Otherwise, you will never use this DocBox password. Well, how do I know where it's emailed to me? User information, top left-hand corner, second link in the dashboard. Verify the email address that we have on file for you so that you can verify where that password will be delivered. But with that said, time is of the essence already. Passing the end time, I apologize for that, but I'm going to scroll down. Very appreciative of your time, energy, and interest to attend this webinar session. If you would like access to more content, transactiondesk.com/training, where you can access our recorded webinar sessions. You can sign up for additional live online sessions, transactiondesk.com/training. If you would prefer shorter sessions, not even sessions, how do I videos, I would like to, youtube.com/Instanet webinars, 1 to 5 minute sessions. How do I send an email? How do I send a fax? How do I start a transaction? So forth. 1 to 5 minute webinars. 1 to 5 minute videos, how do I sessions. So with that said, thank you again for the opportunity to present. I do hope this webinar was a benefit to you, and until we webinar again, I hope that you have a tremendous, tremendous day.